Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fleming Film Show. I'm Robbie Fleming, and joining me, as always, is the lovely Justin Doyle. Hello, Justin.
Hey, so lovely. Doing well. How are you doing today, Rob?
I'm good, I'm good. It feels a bit like we're back to our traditional pattern with just me and you today. We don't have a guest, sadly.
Yeah, well, the past couple weeks we've had guests and the episodes have been really long, which is great. It's really good because it's a lot of content. Uh, it's a lot more conversation, obviously. But so today we're gonna compact it a little bit more because we only have 5 movies to really talk about. Because what are we talking about today, Rob?
Today, we are talking about a director, a cinematic visionary called Baz Luhrmann.
Yes, and I don't want to spoil this, but if you know anything about me, you know that one of these movies is my all-time favorite movies. Um, it obviously, if you know me, then you know what my number one is going to be. But
Yes, I know
uh,
the number one's going to be straight away.
yes, but there was actually a couple movies that I hadn't seen because so the 5 movies that we're going to be talking about today, just in order of them being released, is we have Strictly Ballroom, and then we have Romeo plus Juliet. That came out in 1996, Strictly Ballroom 1992. We have Moulin Rouge that came out in 2001, Australia that came out in 2008, and then The Great Gatsby that came out in 2013. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, so you looking forward to his Elvis movie? Because I am.
Yeah, so that comes out next year, right?
This year.
What? Or yes, this year, 2022. Yes, I'm
Yes.
still living in 2021 because the Oscars haven't happened yet. But
Yeah,
um, yeah. So just saying these movies, Strictly Ballroom, Romeo plus Juliet, Moulin Rouge, Australia, The Great Gatsby. If you've seen them or heard of them, they all seem sort of like on this huge sort of spectacle. He makes big movies, big
he does.
productions, lots of actors, costume design, music, of course. Except for Strictly Ballroom, kind of felt a little lesser than these other 4 movies.
Yes,
These other 4 on this huge scale, and Strictly Ballroom was his first movie, still really, beautiful. It still has the sort of cinematic feel to it and
yes.
production value, but just done on a smaller scale. So I just think it's interesting that this is probably why he only has 5 movies, is because when he goes big.
He does. He does. That's what I like. You go in for a cinematic experience when you're watching a Baz Luhrmann movie. You can tell you're watching a Baz Luhrmann movie before his name shows up on the credits.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how I felt with like Australia. Watching it for the first time was just, I mean, I tried when it came out in theaters to see it, but I feel like I fell asleep because it was such a long movie and
Yeah,
it's a little bit slow at parts. But um, on this sort of renew view of it, yeah, I mean, it's just a huge spectacle, or this huge scale. Just I cannot believe like such a feat like that was created, whether it be good or not.
yes,
It's just really crazy how big he likes to do things, and he likes to work with the same actors.
he does. He does. I think Leo and Nicole are in the most.
That's right. Yeah, Leo for sure taking it. Let's see. Let's see what's going on in this Elvis movie. So, uh, written by Baz Luhrmann. Um, it stars Tom Hanks.
Tom
It-
Hanks.
yeah, Austin Butler, Kelvin
Yes,
Harrison Jr., who was in Cyrano this year,
I need
or
to see that.
Cyrano. Um, yeah. Uh, I guess its first was announced in 2014, and now it's finally gonna be out November. Let's see. Oh, June 3rd, 2022.
And it also stars two of his other recurring collaborators, David Wenham and Richard Roxburgh.
Um, yes. Oh, Cody Smith McPhee is in it as well. He's getting a lot of buzz right now for Power of the Dog.
He is, he is. So, do you want to kick off your number five Baz Luhrmann movie then?
I'd love to. Okay, so my number 5 was a movie that I had not seen until we started talking about how we're going to see his movies. This was his first release that came out, and it's 1992's Strictly Ballroom. You
Which
as
is
well?
also my number 5 as well.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have some crossover here. So, Strictly Ballroom is actually a fun film. It's sort
It
of
is.
satirical, right?
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
felt like a
It's definitely more comedic compared to the others, which do have some tragedy behind them.
yes. But yeah, it's sort of satirical, like a Christopher Guest movie, like For Your
Yeah,
Consideration and stuff like that, which was so interesting because you don't get that, just like you said, in any of these other four films that are coming up. You just don't get comedic, comedy. You have some one-liners and you have some characters who may be funny, but no, this one was going for comedy. And it's simple. So the movie is about a guy who wants to go to the big leagues, for when it comes to ballroom dancing,
yes.
because that's where his parents are pushing him. But he doesn't have a partner, and so he kind of finds this partner who's sort of like the ugly duckling of the group, I guess. But you take off her glasses and you put down her ponytail, and she comes this pretty girl all of a sudden,
So basically, a story like Emma.
Story like Emma, yes. A story like She's All That, which we've seen. And I was so angry because Dirty Dancing is a fantastic, fantastic film, and this was so similar in a lot of ways, in the styling, in the music, in the dancing, and it just was like, you are 5 years too late. This is Dirty Dancing already happened.
No, just
Um,
Dirty Dancing is a masterpiece compared to Strictly Ballroom.
you said it, brother. Yeah, and I do you know any of these actors in this movie? I was not familiar with any of them.
Isn't Barry Otto in it?
Yeah, Barry Otto.
He's Miranda Otto's dad.
I don't know who that is.
Miranda Otto from Lord of the Rings.
Which one? Which one was she?
Eowyn.
Ah, uh-huh. So the lead is Paul Mercurio, which, I mean, where'd he go? Haven't seen him at all.
He must be. I think because Australia do have their own industry, he's probably stuck with Australian movies. That's kind of how
Oh
it's
yeah,
set there.
that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
This movie was estimated at $3 million, made 11 million worldwide, so it did pretty well. Yeah. So, what do you think about Strictly Ballroom?
I kind of agree with what you said. It is a fun story and it is a good movie, but it's not as grand and spectacle as these other four. These other four are masterpieces. This one's kind of just okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's nothing amazing. It's nothing terrible. It's just fine. He
Yeah.
does make this Baz.
No. Yeah, it's fine, and the acting's fine as well. The sub characters are really boisterous. They're really big. They're really like, it's like stage play big. They're really just huge characters. But at the center, you kind of have this small little love story that's happening. And Also a new vision and a new light of dancing ballroom style. Strictly ballroom. You can do a little merengue in there and a little salsa, and
Yeah.
that's those scenes when they were learning how to do that was really, really cool. I like when they hit the heel and the dust comes up off
Yeah.
of the off of the wood there. Buzz Luhrmann, still with a smaller sort of set piece, really still try to get the most out of it. Vibrant colors, big costumes, and then yeah, cinematic sort of feels
He
all
does
around.
like to go all out.
Yeah, yeah. But yes, Strictly Ballroom is our number 5, probably because it's just the other four are just on this grander scale,
Yes.
bigger movies, and actually just better. They actually are better movies.
Can I tell you my number 4 since we matched on number 5?
Yes, let's hear it.
My number 4 is Australia. which is a movie I thought I would have liked a lot more than I did because I kind of liked the concept behind it because I wanted to see more of Australia's history. Hugh Jackman was great and Nicole Kidman was great, but the two who did steal the show was David Wenham and Ben Mendelsohn. I mean, they were obviously underrated Australian actors right now. It's good to see that Ben Mendelsohn's moved on to do stuff like Dark Knight Rises and Captain Marvel, and it's nice to see David Wenham do a different role than Lord of the Rings. So it's nice that them two kind of stole the show in this. But like what we said, it is a very long movie, and I just kind of wish it was a bit more interesting because I did like the last half more than the first half, and that's why I've ranked it my number four. So I thought the other three are more entertaining all the way through.
Australia is also my number four. Yeah, I mean it's huge. It's huge. This movie is so big. The production value is just so great. I actually really loved the house that they lived in. Even when it was old and ratted and tattered, like I really just sort of enjoyed it because
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
out. It's out on this sort of ranch, and it's really what is it called? Nowhere Land.
I can't remember. It had a
Oh,
really good name as well.
I know. That's why I can't believe I'm forgetting it right now. Uh, but I really just love the place where they were, and plus, there's this little boy that's at the heart of this story.
He was
So this movie,
fantastic. He was fantastic.
very, very good. Yeah. So this movie it does give us Australian history, but it's actually more of the Aborigine sort of storytelling there because she
I
goes
kind of like
to
it when like stories focus on like their native like citizens. That's why I like Dances with Wolves quite a lot.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's and Crocodile Dundee does it as well.
Yeah,
Uh, um, but yeah, and it, it hits hard quick because there's people who we know and love in the movie who die off really,
yeah,
really quick, you know, and
yeah.
so it really hits at the heartstrings. Um, I thought Nicole Kidman did a really good job. You know, Hugh Jackman, this is sort of in the middle and the height of him being Wolverine.
Yeah.
So he kind of pulled away from that and is in this other movie, but they still make him out to be like the sexy Aussie, you know, because there's even that scene where he's pouring the water over him, and it's just like so corny.
I've
But
only seen him do his Australian accent in two films. It's this one and Chappie.
do you like Chappie?
I love Chappie.
Me too. So the place is called Faraway Downs. That's the name of it.
All the way
But
down.
yeah, I really loved Faraway Downs. I thought that was great. The coloring in this movie was super interesting. Lots of brown, beige sort of hues, you know, like a tint over everything. And then the way that he did his cinematography in this movie was super interesting because it almost made it seem like the backdrop was green screen sometimes
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
the angle and maybe the lens that he had on when he was just maybe focusing just on one character.
yeah.
I thought that was interesting. But yeah, so this movie is it's pretty good. It's set in Australia before World War II. She's an English woman and she inherits this ranch. And Hugh Jackman is the drover. He drives the cattle and on the
Yeah.
horse, you know. And I thought that was a good story there. And then we have
I
this
like the
boy
villain.
who
I like
doesn't.
the villain because of Wenham's performance as well, but also because you kind of saw his story as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he's in. You know, he's not in like that center part of the movie, but he's a big part of the beginning of the movie and a huge part of the end of the movie. Um, how about the Baz Luhrmann party scene? You know, he always likes to have a huge party.
Yes, he does. He does. He's a massive party animal. I bet he goes to the pub a lot.
Yeah, I just, you know, it really felt sort of Great Gatsby like. Obviously, this came first, but
Yes.
it had that feel to it. So I see where they got it. And yeah, Hugh Jackman in that fighting scene was also a lot of fun. Yeah, this is a good film. It's just long, and you really have to be invested the entire time to really care for it. But
Yeah.
it's definitely better than Strictly Ballroom on a bigger scale.
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
but not vibrant in colors in this one as others.
Yes.
But a solid film.
Yes. Do you want to go third?
Okay, let's see if we can match up again. Oh, let me just do the box office real quick. So, $130 million for Australia to make or to be made, and it only grossed 211 million. So, barely doubled its money.
I thought it was very hyped at the time it was released.
Yeah, I think at the time it was, but then
Yeah.
everyone saw it and they're like, "Oh, this is kind of schlaggy."
Yeah.
All right. So my number three is a movie that we kind of just talked about, based off a novel. This movie came out in 2013. It's also kind of long, but one of the movies that has Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio in it that Baz Luhrmann loves to work with, and it's The Great Gatsby.
That's a little bit higher for me.
Gotcha. Okay. So, yeah, The Great Gatsby. This movie came out in 2013. This is one of my all-time favorite books. I love, love, love the book. You know, reading it in high school, I always just really enjoyed it.
So as I don't
Because
really
there is a lot.
read any books, would you suggest an audiobook version?
Oh, sure. Yeah. 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 Because there's a lot to unpack in that book, and
Yeah.
uh, this also was a movie that came out in the 70s, I think, with
Robert Redford.
Robert Redford. Yes, who at the time he was so involved and intrigued in like what was going on with the FBI and J. Edgar and stuff that it actually messed with his performance in The Great Gatsby because
Oh,
all he wanted to do was just be glued to the radio, listening to what was going on and not paying attention to his acting. So, but what we have here is a huge spectacle of a film. This is what Strictly Ballroom and Australia are. This is together. So we have big scenery, big scopes, big housings and stuff, and parties, and great costume. It's very vibrant music, and it's really what the first one was not at all. I mean, he added so much more to this sort of film. This is a movie which is why I love movies so much, where sometimes you just kind of want to live in the world,
yes.
and it would
Yes.
be great to live in the 1920s. People are smoking, they're drinking, they're partying, they have their little skirts on and their suits.
I have
Everyone's
a lot
always
to talk
dressed up.
about it when I get to it.
Yeah. And I just kind of want to live in that world. Plus, we have really good actors in this. Joel Edgerton's in it. Carey Mulligan, of
Yeah.
course. Tobey Maguire's fine. But then
That's my
Leonardo
favourite
DiCaprio.
non-Spider-Man role of his.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree. Um, but yeah, Jason Clarke's also in this movie,
He's
who's a really
great.
good actor. Isla Fisher. Oh, and
Love
one of
that.
our first sightings of Elizabeth Debicki.
Yeah.
She's the tall girl, tall actress. Um, but it's I was super hyped for this movie because I'm a big, Baz Luhrmann fan, and then also Great Gatsby. So I was going in with high expectations, and it didn't meet them,
Yeah.
but I still had a really good time. I think, Leo did a really good job, but
He did.
maybe a little miscasted. He's I don't know. It's kind of like Robert Redford. It's a little flat, but just 'cause he's a good looking, it
I'm
just kind of
assuming
works.
Leo's better than Robert Redford if Robert Redford was easily distracted, because Leo's more committed.
Yeah, yeah, I would say so. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it just didn't work overall for me, but it's a fantastic film and one of my favorites of that year for sure, as far as just yeah, hype and
Yeah.
the way that it worked out and yeah. Great Gatsby is my number 3.
You ready for my
Oh,
number 3?
yeah, let me just do the box office real quick.
Sure.
105 million, and it grossed 353 million, so it did really well.
It's his highest grossing movie.
Oh, thing. All right.
Ready?
Ready.
The only reason why this movie is my number 3 is because it took me a couple of watches to like it. It's a musical movie and it's Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge with an exclamation point.
Yes, and I bet you're happy that I at least put it in the top 3.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit higher on mine, obviously.
Obviously, yes. So Moulin Rouge is a jukebox musical, which obviously features the characters singing a lot of popular songs, and it does make for some really standout scenes with them singing. I like Hugh McGregor's acting, but I'm not really big on his singing because he's not really a trained singer. Nicole Kidman is fantastic. She's probably the best thing about this movie. But he really steals the show as Mr. Jim Broadbent. This is Jim Broadbent's best role ever. You can really just see how he changes into this really obnoxious, charismatic character, and you can't believe it's him. And I think he kind of steals the show. And the production design, the music, the cinematography, and Baz Luhrmann's directing just make it. And that's why it's my number 3.
The only Best Picture nominated movie of his 5. Yeah, I have more to say.
Oh, I bet you have a lot to say because we have spoken about it before.
Yes. All right. Should I go to number 2?
Yes, I think me and you will have the same number 2.
Well, yeah, I guess we do then, because you know my number 1. Yes, my number 2 came out in 1996. It's based off of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, and it's William Shakespeare's Romeo plus Juliet. Leo is back, or this is where he began with Baz Luhrmann. Then we have Claire Danes in this, but also John Leguizamo, who was in Moulin Rouge, who you talked about. This is a Paul Rudd movie. He's in this movie, which is crazy. Jesse Bradford, who was big at the time, but and of course the legendary Emmett Walsh and Brian Dennehy.
You forgot you forgot about the always amazing Jamie Kennedy.
Okay, yes. I thought you were going to say
this is probably his best performance as well.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of up his alley. This is a movie that is perfect for him. Also, Pete Postlethwaite. Is this your number 2?
Yes, this is my number 2. Obviously, I am from the same place as Shakespeare, and this is one of my favourite film adaptations of a Shakespeare play because I went to see Tragedy of Macbeth, and it was nowhere near compared to this cinematic masterpiece.
It is its own sort of cinematic masterpiece in its own right, but it's not on the same level as Romeo plus Juliet. So we have
a modern day setting which really, really works, but still manages to stick to the source material. I watched this movie last night.
Yeah, it's really, really beautiful. It is so beautiful. And yeah, when like Shakespeare's so hard to kind of understand and comprehend, but when you can do it in a way where we get it. Tragedy.
I think it's because Baz sticks to the Shakespearean dialogue, and the Shakespearean dialogue really tells the story within it. If you just change it to modern dialogue, then you wouldn't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, you wouldn't, but yeah, you bring in these young actors who are known, and then the vibrant colors, and then you also have the war, the battle that
also that this movie starts with a trailer to itself at the start. I think that's awesome.
A trailer to itself?
Yes, it's got a trailer to itself at the start of the movie before the titles show up.
Yeah, interesting. What I remember from this movie a lot is the costume. The costume in this is phenomenal. I
Oh,
mean,
it won my Fleming Award for costume design.
yeah, the way that they again, he has to have this big party, Baz
Yes.
Luhrmann loves his big parties,
Oh, he
and
does.
the way that everyone was dressed in it just was just so spectacular. I love that Baz Luhrmann, that he cares about every detail of the film. So acting for
Yes.
sure, directing of course, the writing, but then yes, production design,
Yes.
costume, hair and makeup, um, spectacles, big, parties, and every single detail within that party, it means something and is worth something. Yeah, this is one of my girlfriend's all-time favorite movies.
Nice.
Just because who this is a movie that's I mean, we know the story, Romeo
Yes,
plus
we
Juliet.
do.
We
We
know
love we
we
love
know
this.
it. We know what happens. We know it's about love. Who doesn't love love? And but still, it's compelling, it's rich, it's fresh, it's new, and
Yeah.
Baz Luhrmann really can make
Do you prefer this
Shakespeare
or
work.
Titanic? Because out of these two films that brought him to the mainstream, I prefer this one to Titanic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more Titanic because I didn't really see this until later.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Eh,
I prefer this one because it feels more creative.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, this is our number two for a reason. It just it hits home on all the right places. It's big, it's bold, it's beautiful, it's well done.
Yes, it is. It is. And we are down to our number ones. Did I say yours and you say mine?
All right, well, oh yeah, your number one is The Great Gatsby.
And your number one is Moulin Rouge.
Yes, well, Moulin Rouge is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, ever, ever. So it was gonna be number one no matter what. And even when we talked about doing this topic, you said I already know what your number one is gonna be, and it's like, well, yeah, of course. Real quick, Romeo plus Juliet, 14.5 million, uh, and it made 147.5 million. So did it all? They always make money. They're just not the big amounts.
Yeah, just Great Gatsby's been a box office hit then.
Just Great Gatsby. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yes, I do. How awesome does he make the Roaring Twenties, and how he adds hip hop music to it? Would normally not work in these kind of movies, but does because of the aesthetics and the cinematography and the way it stands out. I swear to God, every establishing shot, it feels like a painting because of how much detail it's in. And yeah, Tobey Maguire, he played. Obviously, we know the characters and the story, so there's no point going into obviously the plot and everything. But Tobey Maguire is fantastic. I really liked his performance. This is my favourite non-Spider-Man role of his. That scene where you're introduced to Gatsby with Leo holding the wine glass is just a standout Leo moment. I just love the meme of him doing that. And you have
Yeah.
Carrie Mulligan before I loved her in Promising Young Woman, and she's fantastic in this. Joel Edgerton,
She's
Jason Clarke, they work well as a duo because they're both in Zero Dark 30 as well. Isla
mhm.
Fish is great, and that Indian bloke, he was very good in it too. And I just love everything about this movie. I watched it today before we recorded, and I still remember how good it was. It was a hard one picking this because I love Romeo and Juliet, but I decided to pick this one because of its grand sale spectacle. I think Baz Luhrmann's recent film is probably my favourite because of how much detail and effort he's put into this, and that's why I'm looking forward to Elvis. So Great Gatsby is my number one.
Yeah, just the way that like we talked about, just I want to live in that world, the
Yes,
1920s, the
yes,
Roaring 20s.
that's why it's my number
He
one.
makes
I
it
want
look
to live in
so
his
cool.
Roaring Twenties with hip hop music.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Even in the scenes that are drab and dreary, like brown, he still has vibrant red.
Yeah,
She's wearing red. I mean, he still makes art and colors pop. even when they're in drab and dreary situations. It's a great film, definitely.
It is.
Worthy of number one.
I was worried this was going to be your number 4 today because I know you said something in the last episode.
That what?
You said it wasn't that great in the last episode.
What?
The Great Gatsby.
Yeah, it's I mean it's fine. It's like right there. It's like what I said. It's Australian Strictly Ballroom together. You know, it's spectacle, and it's sort of kind of one notish, but put together, and it's it's a big film. But yeah. Okay, so my number one, as we discussed already, is Moulin Rouge.
Yes,
It's one of my
more about Moulin Rouge.
favorite movies ever. Definitely in my top 5. This movie came out in 2001 to just critic love. Nobody was seeing this in the theater. I mean, even like the box office, $50 million it took to make, and it grossed 180.
Did you see it in cinema?
I did not. When this movie came out, Rosie O'Donnell had a talk show, sort of like Ellen has right now.
Yeah.
And I was watching the show, and she raved about this movie. She's like, I know critics aren't saying a lot of good things, and nobody's going to see it, but she's like, this is my favorite movie. And then it came out on DVD, and I bought it and watched it, and then watched it again and again and again, and just fell in love. Nicole Kidman, you're completely right about Ewan McGregor not having like the best of voice. To me, it's sort of like La La Land, where they're not really good singers, but they're so charismatically fun and like interesting.
I like Gosling to Emma Stone, La La Land. Singing.
As far as singers, yeah, but they're both not classically trained. You know, they don't have like they're not going to be like a not going to have a singer on the radio.
More folk, I think, when he sings.
Sure, yeah. And so Ewan McGregor, I really, really like that he's not like the best of singers, but I think he's pretty solid. He can belt out songs. But yes, this is a typical Baz Luhrmann film. You have the makeup and the hair and the production and the music and the big spectacle.
And this is the one he goes most over the top for, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, the characters are over the top. The production's over the top.
The shots and the quick editing are over the top as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I bet some of those scenes weren't even supposed to line up. They just sort of, he just sort of planted them there. This is, it's not for everybody, because it's super strange.
I can see why this is like a lot more divided. Where I feel like I know there are people with hate for Romeo and Juliet, but I'm like, come on, you're just not being fair.
Yeah, this movie is really dark as well. This is dark, lots of dark.
It's very sad at the end. Very
sad. But when at the heart of it all, it's just about love. It's about wanting somebody, even though they're not in your class. And by class, it could be your class, your level,
a bit like Romeo and Juliet in its own way.
Right, it's like the princess and the pauper, sort of like that. It's they don't really mesh well because she's being forced into this sort of love that she doesn't want to be in, but she does love money and loves the hierarchy of everything. But
and she loves singing and dancing.
She loves singing and dancing and performing, sort of cabaret style.
I prefer this movie to Cabaret.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Lady Marmalade is a popular song that came from this movie.
It's one of my favorite songs.
And it sort of encapsulates what this movie is, which is just ladies singing and dancing to sort of sexy songs, but is that the life that she really wants? She really just likes the money and the people throwing diamonds are a girl's best friend, right?
Oh, I love her number in that song.
Yeah, "Come What May" is a phenomenal song, so good. Uh, your song, the Ewan McGregor
The
addition to
only thing I
the
don't like about that is
Elton
that he
John.
does like sing it like constantly throughout the film when he could just move on to other songs.
Well, musicals do have at least one underlining song that sort of wraps everything together.
What, like The Circle of Life?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. City of Stars was, for La La Land. Like,
yeah.
there's lots of songs that sort of play underneath, like Rent, the 525,600 minute song. Like, parts of that song
I
are
need to
in the
see Rat
entire
just to see
movie.
it tick tick boom.
Oh, it's so good. And actually, Moulin Rouge is going to be coming to LA. It's on Broadway right now in New York,
Yes.
and it won a lot of Tonys this year. Well, it's
Ooh.
coming to LA, and I already have my tickets, and we get to see it in July. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we're going to see Rent again. But yeah, I can go on and on about this movie. I love love. I love the songs. I love the ending because
Do
it
you
doesn't
like Jim
always have.
Broadbent in it?
Yes, I mean, like I said, I can go on. The supporting cast is just brilliant. Like John Leguizamo is so freaking
Yes.
hilarious.
Oh,
Jim
and
Broadbent,
Kylie Minogue's in this, and she's always nice to look at as well.
oh yeah.
Kylie Minogue.
Uh, Ozzy Osbourne has a voice part into it. Uh,
Yes.
and then who's the villain that we were just talking about last week?
Richard Roxburgh.
Yes, yeah. For some reason he's not listed here on IMDb.
That's
Oh yeah, there he is. The Duke.
he's
Yes, yes, yes.
he's the Duke.
Uh, what a great villain. And he
Yeah.
has such an interesting voice. It's like piercing but threatening, and I
Yeah.
just really, really
I also
enjoy
like
the
him as
villain.
Dracula in Van Helsing as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's a really solid actor, and even though you hate him and you still kind of like his character. You don't want him to end up with
Well, it's the
Satine, but you
same with
still
Jim Broadbent's character. You love to hate him as well.
one of the biggest characters ever.
Yeah.
Just so well done, well played. Because he does have those still moments where he feels for Satine and almost like a father figure. But business is business.
And that's the
Anyway,
sad part about it.
yeah, my number one is Moulin Rouge. I want to talk. I can talk about it as long as the movie is, which is 2 hours and 7 minutes. All of his movies, except for Strictly Ballroom, are at least 2 hours. Strictly Ballroom was a brisk hour and 30.
Yes.
So,
But they're all
all right,
solid
should we?
movies. They're all solid movies.
Absolutely, and I enjoyed Strictly Ballroom in Australia watching them.
Yeah,
Even though I hadn't seen them, I thought they were still worth the view.
they were. They were. Do you want to rank them down then?
All right, coming in at number 5, I have, and so do you have Strictly Ballroom.
And number 4 that I have and for you have is Australia.
That's right. Coming in at number 3 is The Great Gatsby.
My number 3 is Moulin Rouge.
Both of our number 2s is William Shakespeare's The Romeo plus Juliet.
Baz Luhrmann's take on it.
Yes. And
And
your
my
number
number,
1?
The Great Gatsby. And your number 1?
Moulin Rouge!
Moulin
Exclamation
Rouge.
point. Yeah. I love the windmill. When we were in Paris, we went to it. We didn't go inside, but we went
Oh,
to it and took some photos and stuff. And uh, yeah, it's good.
excellent.
Great. What are we doing next time?
Next time we're going to do our top 5 movies about Hollywood.
Ooh, I
I
wonder what
thought
my number one's gonna
I thought
be.
because you're a Hollywood guy, I thought that would be a good one to do.
Okay, yeah, I love it. There's so many to choose from. So many to choose from.
Yes.
Um,
And
okay.
my number 1 is going to be one you least expect.
Okay. Hey, I'm excited. By the way, I was reading this. Baz Luhrmann, his number five, the film for Chanel, which was like a commercial that Nicole Kidman was in, is the Guinness Book of World Records for the highest budget for an advertising commercial ever produced.
They don't make adverts or commercials like they used to.
Yeah, but also, why spend so much money on a commercial,
Yeah, it's probably what
Ba-
their leftover profit is.
Baz Luhrmann. He's the one to do it.
Yeah. And I can't wait for Elvis.
Yes, can't wait for Elvis. Baz Luhrmann, great director. We need some more from him though. We need more.
Yes, well, he likes to take breaks and likes to go all out, so I can see why he takes these like long times to make movies.
Yeah. Yeah, well 2013 is his last one.
But it's the same amount of time that Sam Raimi lasted a film, and he's doing a film this year with Doctor Strange too.
Ah, yes.
So Baz and Sam are the two big directors coming back.
All right. Let's see what they can do.
Yes, let's see what they can do. Hopefully they'll bring back the good old fashioned cinema experience.
We shall see. Any movie recommendation this week?
Ooh, movie recommendations. I went to see The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne. I recommend that, and I also recommend Licorice Pizza, which I also saw.
Yeah, well, how did you feel about The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne?
Really good, really good. I preferred it to Power of the Dog.
Ooh, really? Um, Yeah, it's so interesting, and what a character. And I do prefer I do think that he acted better in Lee Wayne than he did in Power of the Dog. I mean,
Oh,
he's just a great actor, but he's more charactery in Louis Wayne. Um, just a weird, interesting, awesome sort of
art
person.
movie.
Yeah, and totally odd, but interesting. And then yeah, Licorice Pizza, whatever, it's fine.
Well, I think I liked it a bit more than you did, I take it.
Well, I think everyone likes it more than I did. But what we all know that it's not okay to kiss a 15-year-old when you're 25.
I did not like that bit. I just thought they
We
were better
all
as close friends. They were better as close friends.
totally just be friends. It's fine. Or business partners.
Because I have a lot of good friends who are girls who I don't have any like romantic tension for. It's fine.
Uh, uh, yeah. I mean, just because a guy and a girl are around each other doesn't mean they have to get down.
Yeah, like look at Shang-Chi and Katie. They're best friends and they're boy and girl, and it's fine.
Yeah. Um, Baz Luhrmann's name is Baz Mark Luhrmann. He was
Yes,
born Mark Anthony Luhrmann.
but he changed it to Bazmark.
Interesting. Okay, my recommendation for the week. I saw Scream. It's one of my favorite. Scream. The first Scream is one of my all-time favorite movies. So I was
Yes, we've
really
done a
excited
review
for
of it
this.
together as well.
Yeah, and it's very, very, very enjoyable. Of course, it's corny and cheesy, but it's like you guys, all horror movies are. This was fun and fantastic. But the movie I do really want to recommend is called Prayers for the Stolen. It's out on Netflix right now.
Ooh,
It's shortlisted for International Picture for the Oscars, and it's about living in this country, and little girls get taken at an early age, so they chop off their hair to make them look like boys. And Prayers for the Stolen are the stolen girls,
oh.
that get
So it's a
taken.
bit
So
like Taken or You Were Never Really Here. A bit like those
yeah,
movies.
but real life, like this happens for real.
Is it a
I mean,
documentary as
I guess
well?
Taken. No, it's just for an international picture.
Oh, so it is a
Um,
fictional story then.
Yeah, but this really happens in like real life. I mean, I guess Taken happens in real life too, but yeah, this is based off of real events for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. Prayers for the Stolen.
Nice. I'll check that one out. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Justin, for coming on as always. What's your favourite Baz Luhrmann movie out of these 5 fabulous movies?
Yeah, give us a shout out. Tell us if I was right or if Rob was right with our picks, and we'd love to hear it.
Yes, yes, and also like, subscribe to Justin as well, and comment on
Yeah.
other on movies you like. Just comment anything really. We just want the attention, don't we?
Well, we just love talking movies.
We
So
do.
hit us up. Also with suggestions for topics. Also, yeah, check me out on Worth the View Movies. I've been doing a lot of new stuff, not just review of movies, but like I've been talking about like my favorites of 2021, like production design and favorite movies of 2021. But also, like putting out just extra content instead of just reviewing. Like today, I did. Martin Luther King movies and where you can find them because it's Martin Luther King Day today. So, yeah, just check me out. I'm starting to
Oh,
post more
and
than
happy
just
birthday to
reviews.
Jim Carrey. He turned 60 today.
Yes, and Betty White, who
Aw.
died. Yes,
Oh.
R.I.P. But yes, happy birthday, Jim Carrey, my favorite actor.
Yes. Yes. Right, you ready
Cool.
to wrap things up today?
Yep. We'll see you next week when we talk movies about Hollywood.
Yes, movies about Hollywood. Take care, Justin.
All right. Bye, Rob. See ya.
See you later.